As Photoshop goes, I want to add on to what I was talking about last class period. So last time, they gave you a variety of, let's see, where are my folders? Variety of files that you're working with. Some of them are JPEGs, some of them are vector files. Remember, the JPEGs are pixel-based. They got pixels inside of them. The EPSs and the AI files, those are your vectors, right? You got the different things. And does Photoshop handle vectors well? Is that what you're supposed to edit vectors in? Essentially, no. Opposite true. You don't use Illustrator to edit a photograph. But that doesn't mean you can't place vector files into Photoshop, and you can do some basic editing when you do that. In this particular project, when you place a vector file, of course it's going to ask you what size do you want to make it. And I've placed it behind there, so obviously we can't see that one. But when I hit return, it's going to place it in there, and check out the file type that it's giving me. It gives me this special little character that's on that side. For those of you who've gotten that far, what is that special character called? It's a smart object. This is what a smart object allows you to do. I'm going to delete that layer. We don't need it. So a smart object is a way of saving a copy of whatever file or whatever layer that you're working on. And you don't lose the quality of that layer because a copy of it's being saved. That's a very broad way of thinking about it. Let me show you on the Aftermath logo. So if I was to take this, and we did this with my picture the other day, and I scale it down all the way down. And I hit return, and it's super duper small. What is Photoshop doing to make it so small? What is it doing to the pixels? Adding? It's taking them away. It's making it smaller. So it's got to take them away. So if I go to try to make it bigger again, I'm going to get something that looks very much like this. Because now it's adding in the pixels that it thinks would be the best. So you're losing a lot of the quality. And this is just on a regular layer. It doesn't have a little smart object symbol next to it. So let's back up. Now let's work on a smart object layer, the tantamount, layer that they're working with. With this one, I'm going to make it super duper big. And I hit return. It looks pretty good, so let's make it super small. Hit return. Okay, so now let's try it again. Still maintain the same quality. The reason why it did the same quality is because I'm not really editing these pixels. I'm changing the size of the vector file that it's linked to. Here's another way of thinking about it. So if I wanted to edit this, now this is an EPS file, and if I open up my EPSs, they should go into Illustrator. I'm going to hold down my Control key and click on the layer. And one of the options is to edit the contents. It's going to say, hey, you're about to edit this, and so when you're done, be sure to save whatever edits you do, and you'll see it change. So when I hit OK, it's going to open up Illustrator. Since it's a white logo on a white background, I'll move it over to see it. But let's say I wanted to change the color, or I wanted to add on to this logo. Let's do something simple, like make the background red. So I've changed up the file that I'm working on. When I go to save it, File and Save, are you sure? We'll say OK. And I close it out. Check out what happens when I go back into Photoshop. It automatically updates. So these two files are linked together, and I'm not losing quality, I'm not losing anything about it, because a smart object, it's being smart about the size and the placement and what's on that. Pretty cool? This is going to be really, really important when we start working in InDesign, because you're going to be linking lots of pictures together. But smart objects, they're great to work with. They do have some limitability as far as what you can do to them. Sometimes you have to rasterize the layer in order to add an effect or to do something with it. And they add a lot of memory to your files. So smart objects inside of a Photoshop file is saving a lot more data. It's having to save a copy of that data. And so you're having to some like huge files to work with. But they're really, really good if you're having to move things around and to scale those up. Other things besides vector files you can work with, the new versions of Photoshop can do 3D renderings of files. So if you have a CAD file, or you're doing something in 3D rendering, you can put that into Photoshop. You can do other Photoshop documents and place them in there. So you can have multiple people working on something at the same time. It kind of builds into itself. And that works out really well from that. All cool? Okay, so that's enough about talking about smart objects. You'll experience those when we get there. What I like about this one is you're learning how to use layer masks. For this particular project, I'll even turn off these layer masks, disable it, and disable that one. You're given this background layer of the clouds, and you're going to copy in and paste in a lightning. You're trying to make it look really post-apocalyptic. And they're giving you a picture of a skyline, and instead of deleting away the pixels, in this case, they're asking you to mask out the pixels. And that's what you'll be creating when you enable that. So this little extra icon here is the mask. Rather than deleting something, I can mask it away. What would be an advantage of masking versus deleting a pixel?
Save the data if you want to go back and use it later.
Bingo. It's all about if you make mistakes, if you need to undo something. Kind of a buzzword you'll hear a lot with is lossless. Not lossless. Oh, the word just escaped me. It's a way of working on your photographs so that you don't lose the data. I'm going to call it lossless data. It'll come to me in a second. But if I make a mistake, if I'm masking out something, and I accidentally, I'll make my brush really big, oops, I've cut into that building. Well, with a mask, all I've got to do is swap up my color, and I can go back and I can reapply that into there. Of course, if I go too far, I can just swap back and re-erase that. Whereas if I use my eraser tool and I start erasing things away, those pixels are gone. There's no way I can add them back into there without having to actually go back to my history palette and undo that. And you'll do the same thing for the hole inside of the brick wall that we're working on. I didn't mean to do that. There we go. When you enable that, you'll mask out the center part of the label. So for your bonus project, here's how we can use the layer mask to actually create a multiplicity type of effect. If you go to today's Moodle page, under Project 4 at the very, very bottom, this is where you'll upload it. I'm giving you 3 pictures of myself, or you can use your own pictures. If you click on the Multiplicity Bonus Project, here's the instructions, and I have a little video that gives you step-by-step instructions on what to do. So you can watch this on your own, you can go home and you can do it. You do need a tripod, or at least some way of steadying your camera, so don't move your camera around. But the video is about 10 minutes. By the end of it, you'll know exactly what to do. I'll give you kind of a brief overview. I'm going to drag, these are the 3 pictures, into Photoshop. We'll open them up. So they're all layered up. It's me sitting and standing in 3 different poses. So the first thing, of course, we got to do is to place each one of them into here. And since I have snap turned on, it'll snap itself right to the top edge. That's what I was looking at to get there. Same way for picture 3. Place it and snap it into here. Okay, so I've got 3 layers I'm working on over on this side, and I can turn on and off each layer to see where everything is at. Work 1 layer at a time. So I can turn on layer 1. I know I want to keep this particular area. There's several different ways you can make a layer mask or to select a layer mask, but what the book talks about is you can use a lasso, you can use a selection. I'm just going to kind of select myself. Got myself selected. How do I turn on a layer mask for those of y'all who've done it?
Hit the layer mask button at the bottom.
Very good. Bottom of your layers palette. Since I got it selected, it'll automatically mask out everything else. And I can see myself. Pretty cool? Now I can see a little bit of this edge right here. There's a little color contrast. So if I use my paintbrush tool, and I'm painting black, let's give it a really soft edge. Woo. Huge brush though. There we go. I can soften up that edge and give it a little bit better transition to work with. Y'all go away, I'm having fun. Cool, so there's layer 1. 2 people placed into that one. Let's try layer 2. I know I'm going to be here, so I need to select myself. And this one's going to be difficult because I'm actually overlapping the person behind it. But when I turn on that layer mask, I can mask that one out. Now all I've got to do is paint black around these edges to clean up where that's at. Change up the size of your brush, change up the, even changing up the opacity sometimes can give you a little bit better effect to work with. Y'all get the idea? Kind of cool? That's what I want you to do for yours. Take at least 3 photographs of yourself. You can do it of yourself, or you can use these pictures if you want to. And once you're finished, you're going to save it just as a JPEG. Under File, Save As. It'll automatically flatten it since JPEGs don't support layers. And that's something you can upload to Moodle once you're finished. 5 extra bonus points on any test that you've taken. Cool? Okay.
Can you do it with someone else, or does it need to be?
No, you can do it with someone else, yeah, as long as you got your own photographs you can work with. All right, let's close that out. Also, don't forget the, oh, come on. First homework quiz chapter questions for this project are due by midnight tonight. So if you haven't done that one, check out Project Homework Quiz 4 and be able to finish those up tonight. All cool? I'm going to turn your computer back over to you, let y'all get started and finished up.